As a proud graduate of the Texas Military Institute class of '97, as in 1897, to the people of Texas, I am pleased and honored to say I have returned. Of course, my trip to Texas today is not so much to receive, but to pay tribute to that segment of the American public which has done so much to contribute to the story of American arms, the sons and daughters of Texas. In 3 campaigns, in 3 different wars, as I have visited the front lines of any battle zone, I have often come across a small flag of Texas, planted by some enterprising son of Texas. The Texans are known for their invincibility of will, their determination, and their loyalty to this country. And so to the people of Texas, I repeat, I am delighted to return today. Now with me today, I'm proud to be associated with members of Company K from the National Museum of the Pacific War just down the road in Fredericksburg. They are living historians, and they are reenactors who will be more than happy to educate you on the Pacific War, and please feel free to ask them any questions you might have. And again, thank you for having me today, and God bless America.
Thank you, General. It's good to see that you finally returned. You didn't say it was going to be 75 years later. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here. My name is Jeff Copsett. I'm the Living History Coordinator at the National Museum of the Pacific War in Fredericksburg, Texas. With a show of hands, who here has been to that museum in Fredericksburg? Oh, wow. Very good, very good. For those of you who did not raise your hand, shame on you. Please make sure you get to the National Museum of the Pacific War in Fredericksburg. It is the only museum in the continental United States that is dedicated strictly to telling about the struggle in the war in the Pacific. For those of you who did raise your hand, make sure you come back. We are constantly updating our exhibit space, including the Pacific Combat Zone where we operate. We have a mission statement at this museum. We inspire our youth by honoring our heroes. Let's give a big round of applause for the way today has gone so far. The weather, the clouds have gone away. What a perfect day to honor our heroes. Now, who's ready to hear some weapons? All right, all right. I'm going to turn it over now to our Japanese commander, and he's going to give you guys a little taste of what was used against us in the Pacific during World War II. Take it away.
All right, so as I said, we're going to cover 2 weapons. One thing to know is in the Pacific, the majority of the soldiers that the U.S. faced was Japanese Navy Special Naval Landing Force. They were a very formidable force. They took down every single island that rolled through in their assault to take what they needed in the Pacific. So the first is the standard infantry rifle, the Arisaka rifle. 5-round bolt action rifle, very easy to produce, lightweight, very durable. We're going to go ahead and demonstrate this weapon. She's good out to 300 yards and more. Demonstrate your weapon, Reggie. That's the Arisaka rifle. Like I said, lightweight, you can keep it up on your shoulder, allowing Japanese troops to fire faster because they kept their target in sight. Now, the second one is the Japanese Nambu light machine gun. This is a 22-pound weapon that fires from a 30-round box magazine, top-fed, 700 rounds per minute. She is on or off. There is no semi-automatic or selector switch on this. Maximum effective range is 1,500 meters. Now, there's one important thing to know about this light machine gun. This is how well Japan learned to master their battlefield and their weapons they employed. Japan accurately sniped with this rifle, being able to pull the trigger on this light machine gun and fire off a single round. Please demonstrate the Nambu light machine gun.
Boy, that was great. And not every day you get to see a World War II Nambu light machine gun fired in full auto, right? Okay, let's move on to some of the weapons that we were using during the war. This first weapon we're going to demonstrate was said that General Patton considered this the greatest combat implement ever devised. It was the M1 Garand. This weapon system, did I just get a whoo? I heard it. Yeah. This weapon system was a game changer on the battlefield. This is the first semi-automatic weapon used by the Allies during World War II. That bolt-action Arisaka, boy, that looked good now. But that was a bolt-action rifle. 5 rounds, you got to operate the bolt every time. You put an 8-round M-block, caliber 30-06, into the top of this M1 Garand, and as fast as you can squeeze the trigger, you're sending 8 rounds downrange at the enemy. The M-block is ejected on the last round, and the bolt locks to the rear for quick and easy access to reload and do your job again. You ready to demonstrate your weapon? The M1 Garand. Now this next weapon, I'm sure you all have heard of. It's had a lot of nicknames. In the 1920s and 30s, it's called the Chicago Typewriter. Gangsters like Al Capone preferred this weapon as a street sweeper. It was chambered in .45 ACP, and it had a 20-round, a 30-round, or a 50-round drum magazine. The Thompson submachine gun, otherwise known as the Tommy gun. This weapon only has a maximum effective range of about 75 yards. But those dense, thick jungle islands in the Pacific was the perfect atmosphere for this weapon system. It would fire up to 650 rounds a minute. Who's ready to hear a Tommy gun? Demonstrate your weapon. That's a fine instrument of warfare, an automatic weapon, but we sacrificed range with only 75 yards, so we need a weapon that can reach out and touch the enemy at 500 to 600 yards. It's going to take the exact same round as our M1 Garand, except it will be applied from a 20-round box magazine at over 700 rounds a minute. Wow. The Browning automatic rifle, also known as the BAR. Who's ready to see the BAR demonstrated? Woo! Demonstrate your weapon, sailor. Now in the middle early stages of World War II, 1942, 1943, these weapon systems were very effective on the battlefield. But the enemy was dug in. They were dug in caves and underground bunkers with reinforced concrete up to 18 inches thick and coconut logs and steel. That weapon system is not going to penetrate those kinds of emplacements. So we're going to need to burn them out. And the Marine Corps developed the Marine Corps Assault Team. Typically 4 to 6 members. You would have a team leader with an automatic weapon. You would have a flamethrower operator. Pretty self-explanatory what he does. You'd have an assistant flamethrower operator, and you would have a satchel man, and that satchel would be 22 pounds of TNT. They would work as a team, nicknamed the Blowtorch and Corkscrew. We burn them, and then anything that's left, we blow it out. Who's ready to see a World War II flamethrower demonstrated for you right here? While he's getting in position, we'll talk about the weapon system. There are 2 tanks on his back that are full of anything that burns. Diesel fuel, aviation gas, gasoline, whatever's going to burn, we're going to put it in there as a liquid form. One smaller tank in the middle is compressed nitrogen. That's our propellant. That's what's going to push that fuel out of that weapon system. The gun group has an igniter on the front end, and at the back of the gun group is another trigger, and that releases all of that fuel across that igniter. At 2200 degrees, it's burning at the end of that nozzle. Ladies and gentlemen, this weapon is not blank adapted. This is identical to what was used during World War II so long ago. Blowtorch, flamethrower up. Okay, great. Way to go, Blowtorch! Was anybody over there in that section complaining about the cold weather this morning? We tried to fix it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you from all of us.
Idea what that is. We'll have to wait for some of the planes to get past. That's why everybody's still got windows. Both of these were pulled in with some of the members' personal vehicles. We've got a 42 model half-track down here that brought this one. You would have seen half-tracks, high-speed tractors, whole various assortment of vehicles that would have hauled these around. What we got over here is a 1.5 ton Dodge weapons carrier, a WC-63. Had a little bit more power, had a little bit more oomph than the 3/4 ton. That would have been very common to be able to pull some of this artillery. Would have had room for all the ammunition and the gun crew. So, are my 2 guns ready to go to send 1 round downrange? Paul, give them the order. How was that? Oh, that wasn't that good. You know, like music, you know, a trumpet sounds good, a drum sounds good, but it all sounds good when it's all together, right? So why don't we let these guys actually do what they want to do? I've got some young kids out here, which probably would have been about the same, you know, age and size and everything as they were back in the day. Let's let these kids have some fun. If y'all like to just kind of hear everything go off, let them know. right, a little bit of a late bloomer there. All right. John, who's next up? You know, I just, if you get a chance to get out in these camps, thank all these guys. There was a good handful that were here Thursday night in canvas tents, getting the rain and the storm. We had some tents go down, so a lot of these reenactors, they love it. They're out here. Get a chance to go through every one of these different groups John mentioned earlier. They have displays. They've made the effort to bring up their displays, their tenants, their vehicles. Please take the time to run through there. They love to talk about this. So I'm going to hand this back over to John with the ground forces. That's just fantastic.